Hi everybody, welcome to Haiku Talk. I'm your host, Ben Ga, your friendly neighborhood haiku poet, and today we're going to be taking a look at a piece from Laurie Greer from the latest issue of Kingfisher. It's issue 8, October 2023. The first line is blackberries, ... All right, and you know what time it is. It's time to sit back, relax, grab yourself a tasty beverage, and let's haiku. Welcome back, everybody. It's good to be with you for another episode of Haiku Talk. And today we're going to be taking a look at a really nice, peaceful poem by Laurie Greer from the latest issue again of Kingfisher. The poem goes like this. Blackberries, the taste of last night's rain. Blackberries, the taste of last night's rain. Really nice piece. Now this poem follows the fragment and phrase format, with the fragment being line 1 of blackberries and the phrase being the taste of last night's rain. And it's just a wonderful, delightful piece. It does a couple things, and I'll say these things up front before we break down the poem. One, it's a poem that's able to talk about the past in the present tense. This is a nice trick, neat way of doing it, and we have the throwback to last night's rain, but we're tasting it in the blackberry in the present tense. Great technique. If you're going to be writing or wondering how do I talk about the past in the present, this is a good example to look at. So if you come across a poem that you're writing and you get stuck, flip back to this episode, turn it on, and look at that poem. Another thing is that there's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the world today. And I know that's going to be true if you watch this video a year from now, 2 years from now, or however long in the ether this thing stays up on the interwebs. But life is rough and it's hard, and there's a lot of really nasty stuff happening in the world that's divisive, that's scary, that's hurtful. And this poem reminds us that there's another part of life that is present and that is worth celebrating and preserving and holding on to in the midst of all of the strife. No matter what's happening, it's good to remember, it's good to taste a blackberry. It's good to connect it to weather. It's good to connect it to being in the moment and having that simple pleasure, that simple recognition of there's good happening as well. And if you're in the midst of horrible things going on, it's good to pick up something like this, to read it, and remember, life isn't always as bad as it is in the moment. It can get better. It will get better. And there's something to look forward to at the end of that dark tunnel. With that said, let's break this down line by line. So we have line 1 of blackberries with an ellipsis. That's the ... Blackberries. And I like blackberries, so I appreciate the ellipses there, causing me to slow down and really think about blackberries and really think about what they look like, the color of a blackberry, the way they feel in my fingers as you're picking one up, the way it feels when I put it in my mouth, the way it hits on your tongue, the way when you bite there's the little bits of crunch, there's the flavor kind of explodes, and just everything about a blackberry. And that's what that ellipsis does for me. It takes the blackberry and it makes me pause and think about all the things that I know and enjoy about a blackberry. And that's even like back in an old house, I had blackberry bushes. And so in that pause, I'm thinking about all sorts of experiences that I've had and continue to have with blackberries. And that's a good place to start on the first line. It's just one word, but it hits the sensory images and the sensory database in my head really hard. And so I appreciate it a lot. I'm a fan of one word lines, and that ellipsis to pause, to slow down and consider the blackberries is nice. Now the next line is the taste. The taste. And I think one could make an argument that the taste could be a pivot line, as it speaks to both line 1 and line 3. But I'm going to stick with the fragment and phrase format here. If you want to make an argument for that, please leave a comment. I'd love to see what you have to say. But the taste. So having that following blackberries with the ellipsis, now I'm focused in on a specific piece, a specific experience of the blackberry, experiencing the taste. And then I get to line 3 for the surprise of last night's rain. Of last night's rain. That's just such a wonderful way to end the moment and a way to conclude the moment, because you're not just tasting the blackberry, but this is a fresh blackberry, one that was picked, one that was pulled in from the yard, that's still wet with last night's rain. And suddenly this moment, this flavor, all of these sensory images that I have, for me anyway, around the blackberry, they come together into this very intimate moment of me being in a spot where I'm having a fresh blackberry. Now I go back to when I used to have blackberry bushes myself in an old house, and imagining myself getting up on a Sunday morning and going out and picking these things, having it rained all night just to see, are they ripe, what's out there, and popping a blackberry or two in my mouth that the birds didn't get. And what a wonderful thing it is. I could also imagine going to a farmer's market on a Saturday morning, having it rained last night. The farmers have, the produce is still a little bit wet for themselves because it's freshly picked. All sorts of little moments, all sorts of little stories, little places that I go with this small piece of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words. 7 words, and I have a couple of really good moments in my head that I can go to just right off the spot, right off the bat. If you sit with this a little bit longer, you can go to, you can travel to all sorts of other moments in your life, experiences, interactions with people, and that's the beauty of this form, because these poems, haiku and senryu, are written for we, the readers, to complete. We get to complete the moments. They become alive when we start reading them, when we engage with the action that's happening, that's unfolding in real time. And we fill in the space around those words with our life story, and that's what makes it complete. And that's what can take you away from whatever's happening in your life for just this moment, to travel to another moment that is maybe more peaceful, maybe more happy, maybe someplace that you want to go and visit again. It's a magical thing that happens. And thank you for tuning in for such a moment that I get to share with you. And I do appreciate every viewer that checks this out. Whether you hit the like button or not, doesn't matter. It's just it's cool that this goes out here. It came to me. This poem went to the editors of Kingfisher. They picked it out, put it in the journal. I read through the Kingfisher, picked this poem out, and I'm relaying it to you. And it's kind of also like a cycle thing, this cool thing that we're all sharing, and how this conversation of letters happens, and how we engage with it, and it grows and expands, and it's cool. I dig it. All right, that wraps up another episode of Haiku Talk. Thank you for tuning in. As I said, please click a thumbs up if you do like this episode. If you like the episode, think about subscribing. And if you like and subscribe, think about clicking that bell to get notified when new issues arise. Until then, enjoy your blackberries. Peace, everybody.